Unmuted and on video.
Okay, excuse me, it is 5:15. I will call this meeting of the City of Bangor Board of Appeals to order. My name is Ed Gould, I'm the board chair. First item on our agenda is introductions. So Jordan, if you just start off, please.
Hi folks, I'm Jordan LaBeouf.
Robin Perkins.
Ed Gould.
Rachel Thompson?
Dog me.
Great, thank you. And we have a quorum. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the January 31st, 2024 meeting. Excuse me. The minutes are in the board packet. Would anybody like to make a motion?
Move to approve the minutes.
And a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments, questions, amendments to the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that vote is unanimous. Item number 3 on the agenda is a public hearing on an appeal from the code enforcement officer's notice of violation at 15 Columbia Street. And I understand that the code enforcement officer would like to continue the hearing based on some new information received today. Is that right, Jeff?
That is correct, yes. Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Short and to the point, Jeff. I appreciate that.
I'm Dave Sepchek, the city solicitor. I understand that the applicant is consents to is in agreement with the continuance.
Yes, Casey Olson here for the Heritage Building Associates. We consent to that continuance.
Okay. And I understand, Jeff, that there recently was you just received today an engineering report that you want to have some time to take a look at and determine what further action may be necessary on the notice of violation.
That is also correct.
Okay, great, thanks.
It was an email.
Okay.
A report forthcoming that is important that there be further investigation. Yeah.
Great. Okay, thank you, Jeff. So there's a request to continue that hearing. Would anybody like to make a motion on the request for a continuance?
I make a motion for the request of the continuance of the Heritage Building Associates.
Thank you, Robin. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Don. Comments, questions on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, it's unanimous. Item number 4 is a public hearing on a request for a reasonable accommodation under the Federal Fair Housing Act for 17 15th Street, Bangor Friends of Affordable Housing. Is there someone who would like to present on behalf of the applicant? Yes, sir. If you step up to the mic, tell us your name and your residence, please.
My name is Michael Toller. I live at 253 Maple Street in Bangor, Maine, and I'm the president of Bangor Friends of Affordable Housing. I'm looking right now, the nonprofit is looking to change from a single-family residence to a sober living house. Okay, we believe that the house would be able to serve the community better, and we can get the support for people who really need it. Any questions?
Questions from the board members?
So what we're looking for is you want additional people to be able to live in that home that are not related, correct?
Correct. And get the services they needed. I've been running, the nonprofit's been kind of running by themselves, and we're looking to partner with a service agency to provide professional services that people may need in there,
Okay.
right? And give the guidance that's necessary. So those decisions will actually be out of the hands of Bangor Friends of Affordable Housing and in the hands of the people we're hoping to partner with. Right?
Do you happen to know offhand what district the house is in? This might be more of a question for Jeff, but.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was classified as single-family residence, but
Okay.
I think it would be 2 or something. Yeah.
Other questions? I have a few questions. You know, ordinarily, when we get these requests for a reasonable accommodation, we get some details in terms of the type of people who will be living at the residence. In other words, are they not currently using substances and, or are they still using substances, and what steps, if any, that you take to, you know, ensure that it's a sober living residence. We also usually get information about some of the details about how the residents will be housed, because that will help us make an assessment of the reasonableness of the requested accommodation. Can you give us any details on that?
Oh, what I can say is I've been in touch with Scott Hardy, and we're looking to get it, he's the president that registers, you know, I forget the name, a lot of the sober living houses, right? And not all of them either, you know, those are being registered, right? He's already done a drive-by, but I haven't talked to him, you know, about where we are. But again, it will be run along the lines, I believe, that Scott Hardy is set up. But there will be another organization that will be running that, so I won't be involved in those decisions as much, right? Well, not as much, I probably won't be involved in those decisions at all, as a matter of fact.
I don't know if it's appropriate for us to speak, but we'd be the organization running the home, and we'd be happy to field questions.
Yeah, we'll give you the opportunity in a few minutes. You can go ahead, I'm sorry.
So a lot of the details probably,
Okay.
Josh will fill in that aspect, right? You know, all I can say is, for me, you know, I've been doing this for a while. The house has helped 6 to 8 people get their lives together and move forward without the expertise of those who have experience in that way. I just care, I become involved in people and, you know, help them. I do more than just you know, provide housing. I become a friend and provide services as far as transportation and connecting them with other people that need, that they're willing to take help from. You know, I think probably it's gonna be more mandated that they get specific help in order to live there. But again, those specifics, right? I've given up that authority or whatever you wanna say to make those decisions. I'm leaving it to people who've done it before. And that helps.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know if you've ever heard me speak before city council or anything else. My focus has been on housing as much as anything. And that's where I like to keep my focus if I can, creating more housing for the people who are unhoused. And this just seems the way that it's gonna help more, allow me to focus where I'd be able to maybe make a bigger effect and let the experts who deal with the other aspects, you know, handle that part.
What's the current use of the property?
It's single-family residence, which allows 5 unrelated individuals to live in there. I have there's 5 rooms in the house. It's been inspected and approved by code enforcement in the past. But as a single-family resident, it's leased to the people who are in there, right? There's been people leave, so right now I got 3 rooms, there are 3 rooms empty in that building, right? And it just seems to be an opportune time right now without much disruption of anything to move forward in this direction and have a bigger impact.
How many bedrooms in the house?
There's 5 bedrooms right now. I'm looking, I would like to get 2 more bedrooms going there, but again, now this is gonna be more input from Josh and Heel right? I have very limited funds, so I didn't want to start, doing anything to get those additional rooms if it would not be approved, right?
So, just so that I understand, there are currently 3 people who are not related that are there, is that correct?
Right, one couple, they're now married.
Okay.
And one other individual that is actually now looking to go into long-term recovery.
All right. And in the past, there have been as many as 5?
Yes,
And your request is for an accommodation to allow up to 8?
yes.
Okay, I understand, thank you.
Can I follow up with just?
Yeah, absolutely, Jordan.
Thanks, Ed. So just to make sure I'm following this piece, the additional residents that you're hoping to have, you would have to do some modifications to the building before you would bring in those additional
Yes.
residents, and they would have their own private spaces?
Well, actually, there was an empty room that could not be used because we got a couple in one room, but where they're not married, they're considered, even though they're life partners, they're considered unrelated, right? So that leave one, so there would be one room available, so we could immediately bring it up to 6, right? That's a possibility. What's gonna happen is, right, to what Josh feels would be appropriate. But there's availability, right now, right, with a different classification of the house.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in support of the application?
Josh Palacio, 355 Hancock Street, Bangor, and I'm the Executive Director of HEAL. Please accept my apologies for speaking at a turn before.
No problem, it's not a problem.
Thought it was coming towards my direction, I just wanted to make sure it didn't get voted on before I had a chance to speak. So we are in the process, and I'm sorry for the late hour, of transferring ownership of that property. This is a last minute decision. Our goal would be to get the house to a different condition than it's in now. Upgrading the house, it would be a process. It would probably be 3 or 4 months from now before we finish that project, and we would run a recovery home in that space with up to 8 people.
Questions? Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I hadn't prepared for a presentation on that. Sorry about the lack of preparedness for this hearing. We got noticed like just now. HEAL is merging with an organization, a national organization called Recovery Organization Resources. Next to me is the executive director of ROR, Recovery Organizations Resources. I think one of the questions that came up before was, what does it look like? Would sobriety be required? And the answer to that is yes. It would be run with a licensed clinical drug and alcohol counselor overseeing the program. It would be 12-step based, so people would be moving or going to 12-step meetings on a regular basis. It would have a house manager, somebody making sure that the house is well maintained and taken care of, and following a program called the Good Neighbor Program, which makes sure that the house fits in the neighborhood, is quiet, is not throwing parties, is picking up the litter on the streets, all of that kind of stuff. That's the 30,000-foot view. I could go into detail on all the nitty-gritty if you have any specifics.
Anything from any, go ahead, Robin.
So the other homes that we've approved, they've told us that they have drug testing and they make sure that the people that are there
Yes.
are clean.
Yes.
And would be the same as this house.
Yep, the program calls for weekly drug testing and then random.
You offered to get into the nitty-gritty.
Sure.
And, for example, what we've seen in other applications is whether or not there's space available, say, for parking for residents. Because one of the concerns that at least I would have as a board member is, is the neighborhood going to be burdened by people parking on the street because there's no parking available in the on the property itself. So could you get into the nitty-gritty on some of those issues for us?
That's a nitty-gritty piece that I haven't come across, but I just went through this with our new neighbors across the street, same scenario, parking was the biggest concern in the area, we'll get to that. How many parking spots in that? It seems big to me.
It depends on actually what code says. because-
One parking spot, next door, so don't go sugarcoating it. There's room for one.
Yeah, you'll have the opportunity to speak.
I only saw the property the once and I pictured it a lot bigger than that, but I won't hold myself to that. I'm not sure what the procedure here is, so forgive me if I'm stepping on toes that I shouldn't be. But this decision was just made at the last hour. Is there a possibility of getting a continuance on this so we can come more prepared and present to this board all the information that they might be thinking or seeking? Or are we past that, or?
You certainly could ask for one.
Yeah, because am I allowed to speak?
We'll give you the opportunity. We do it one witness at a time, so you'll have the opportunity to speak in a moment.
So if I may, while you're pausing.
Sure.
There's a national reputation at stake. There's a reputation for us at stake. And our Good Neighbor program is pretty serious. I'm not certain at this point that I could deliver all the answers to this board that would satisfy that we could meet our conditions at this. After looking at it, I know we can do it, but I'm not sure I could answer all the specifics. And if we could have a continuance on this, I think we can wrap it up pretty quick.
Dave, one question that I have is.
I'm sorry, can I ask one quick question?
Yeah, sure.
You're the executive director of what?
Health Equity Alliance in Bangor, which
Okay,
has
so-
just merged with.
You're not the applicant then?
No, but we did just enter a purchase and sale agreement for
Okay,
it.
so I mean,
That was my concern about standing. You know, you have number one, who should be making the application? And number two, who has the standing to ask for a continuance?
well, the application has been made by Bangor Friends of Affordable Housing.
Right.
If Bangor Friends of Affordable Housing wants to request a continuance, that's who should request it.
Can I ask a question
Please,
related to
yeah.
this? If the property changes ownership, as it sounds like it might be doing, and we, for example, grant a appeal to Friends of Bangor Affordable Housing, we made it clear in the past that those appeals don't transfer with ownership. And so it seems like if the plan is for the property to change ownership and that might give time for some additional details, then it might make sense for the new owner to be the applicant in a second appeal.
Well, perhaps it should be withdrawn. you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
Withdrawn.
Well, hey guys, I'll let you speak in a moment. First of all, do any other board members have any other questions? Is there anything else that you wanted to say while you're here?
Thank you for your grace.
No, that's okay.
Thank you.
So, go ahead, sir. Come on back up to the podium, please.
Just on the timeline, I had applied for this, hoping to go forward as Bangor Friends of Affordable Housing. As Josh indicated, things have moved real fast. I asked for their support in running the house, and now we've reached into agreement. There will be a transfer of title. So what I just learned, and I just found out that more today, what I just learned, it sounds like save everybody's time, is we withdraw all their requests, and when it's time, they will submit whatever they need to.
I think that's a good idea.
So,
So you're withdrawing the appeal?
Yeah. What's that?
He's I understand you're requesting to withdraw the appeal?
Yeah.
and if he does that, there's nothing that the board needs to act on.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sorry to waste your time tonight.
No, not at all.
You gotta figure this
Not at all.
stuff out.
Thank you.
Sure.
And Ma'am, I think you were probably here to speak in opposition.
Correct.
There's nothing before us today to act on. If there's a subsequent application by the new owners, you'll have the
You
opportunity.
have to get approval through
It'll come
the
through
city
the
of
same
Bangor for this type of home.
Yes.
Because I
Yeah.
know the way the home is right now, I've got pictures and stuff I have to look at. They say paint it, he has like 5 or 6 different color paints that people give him, and so the house is all like different color, I mean,
Well, we'll-
it's a nice family neighborhood, and I just hate to see.
We'll wait for a new application, and we'll,
Parking is, we'll put one car, they park out front of the
we will rule on whatever is presented to us at the time of a new application, but there will be a new one.
Okay, this one's done.
This one's done.
Thank you.
Okay, sure.
There had been somebody raising their hand, but.
I apologize.
But not anymore, right?
Yeah, it's done.
Okay, well, let me just make sure. Is there anyone who's participating by Zoom that wants to be heard? Ms. Johnston, go right ahead.
Yeah, she's a neighbor across the street from me.
Yes, I'm a neighbor across the street from Pam. And I just want to make sure I understand that right now they're withdrawing their appeal. And then does that mean that the Health Equity Alliance, once the title is transferred, would need to put in another appeal?
Well, what it means is, as of this moment, there's no request for a reasonable accommodation before the planning board. And so for any change and for any accommodation, there would have to be a new application and they would have to start over.
Okay, so they would have to start over, and I kind of echo the same concerns. You know, I've been in our house for 20 years, and when there were more people living there, there was a lot more police presence, and I would really want to know what kind of monitoring would be done if this was to happen, because prior to that, I mean, we were a family neighborhood. We've all been here 20 plus years. So I'm really concerned about that many people living in that home.
Well, you'll have the opportunity to address us if and when there's a new application.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else on Zoom that would like to speak? Okay, hearing none.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The last item on the Board of Appeals agenda is other business. Does anyone have anything else to bring before the board?
Thanks for the new name tags.
Yes, our deepest appreciation.
My assistant Mary obtained.
Thank Mary, on behalf of the board, would you thank Mary for us, because we now know where we should sit.
And what your names are.
That's right. Okay, then does someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn?
And a second?
Second?
Moved and second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned.